Congratulations! You have found an experiential learning opportunity that meets the requirements for you to receive credit through Point Park's Cooperative Education Program. You successfully conquered the job search process. You polished off your resume, found the perfect professional attire for the big day, and knocked the interview out of the park. But now what? How do you ensure that you receive credit? Who do you submit assignments to for grading? How do you make the most of this experience? And where do you go if you have questions? Not to worry, this orientation is designed to not only answer those questions, but to also set you up for success during your co-op. Before we get started, take a moment to reflect on your experience and answer the following questions. What will you be doing in your co-op role? How have your educational and work experiences prepared you for this step? What are the biggest learning curves that you anticipate? What are you most excited for? And if you could accomplish one thing during this experience, what would it be? Feel free to pause this video while you reflect on these questions. Now that you've secured a position to help you gain that real-world experience, let's begin by digging a little deeper into the co-op program. The goals of the Cooperative Education Program are to connect work-ready students to meaningful employment opportunities, enhance student employability by providing an opportunity for paid professional experience related to the student's major while earning college credit. And through the experience, students also gain exposure to real-world business practices and networking opportunities. The Cooperative Education Team within the Professional Career Readiness Center serves as a liaison among students, faculty, and employers for experiential learning programs which include internship and cooperative education. The program manager of experiential learning will send you 2 surveys to complete over the course of your co-op. About midway through the semester, you will receive the mid-semester survey. And at the end of your semester, you will receive the end of semester performance evaluation. If you have concerns or are uncomfortable at your work site and need help with having difficult conversations surrounding your experience, you can connect with the Professional Career Readiness Center by calling 412-392-3950 or by sending an email to careerdev@pointpark.edu. At this point, you may have already been assigned a faculty supervisor. If you are unsure of who your faculty supervisor is, contact the program manager of experiential learning in the Professional Career Readiness Center. Your faculty supervisor will oversee your experience and is responsible for providing and analyzing reflective assignments and submitting a final grade. If you have questions about your assignments, you should contact your faculty supervisor. One important element of the co-op program is that students are able to receive college credit while completing their experience. Your experience will be registered in 2 places. The first is through Handshake. You will submit a request for your co-op that includes information about your job, as well as your employer and faculty supervisors. This step is very important as it is how the Professional Career Readiness Center will track your experience. Additionally, as previously mentioned, at various points during your co-op, the Professional Career Readiness Center will connect with your employer and faculty supervisors. Midway through the semester, you and your faculty supervisor will receive an email to complete the mid-semester survey. This survey serves as an opportunity for you and your faculty supervisor to provide feedback about your experience, as well as address any areas of concern. Then, closer to the end of the semester, you and your employer supervisor will receive an email to complete your performance evaluation. You are required to complete this evaluation. However, we understand that some employers may not be able to. Check with your employer to see if they have any confidentiality requirements that may prevent them from completing the evaluation. The second place your co-op will be registered is with the university so that you receive college credit. Students are not able to register themselves. Instead, the program manager of experiential learning will initiate this process through the Center for Student Success. Students are encouraged to follow up with their success coordinator to ensure this step has been completed. Now that you have a better understanding of the goals of the co-op program, as well as how to register your experience and the role of your faculty supervisor, let's spend some time on how you can set yourself up for success to get the most out of your experience. Professionalism is the behavior that is demonstrated by someone who is a professional in their field. As a behavior, it is observable and may be measurable. People also have an expectation of what professionalism looks like because it is based on a role that is created and understood by those in the field. Take a moment to think about what you expect professionalism to look like in your field. And thinking about stepping into your new role, take some time to consider the following traits that are considered to be unprofessional. These include inappropriate relationships, inappropriate communication, inappropriate self-disclosure, exploitation such as money or gifts, breaches of confidentiality, disengagement, which could include texting, inappropriate use of internet and phoning, provision of misleading information, and disrespect. Behaviors like these are typically frowned upon in the workplace and could even land you in hot water with your organization. Now, take a moment to consider some of the top characteristics of today's professionals. These include interpersonal skills, work ethic, communication skills, appearance, time management, and being knowledgeable. Honing your skills in these areas will help you be successful in your role. Judging professionalism is subjective, but there are guidelines that are shared about how it should be judged. What are some of the standards that professionals in your field use to judge professionalism? If you are unsure, do a little research on the industry, or even ask a professional in your field. In addition to researching professionalism in your field, you should also be mindful of these tips. Be the best. In other words, strive to excel. Be dependable. Keep your promises and take responsibility for your mistakes. Be a team player. Look for opportunities to contribute to the larger cause. Be respectful. This is not only good for those around you, it is also good for your career. Be positive. Things will get tough from time to time, but you owe it to yourself, your colleagues, and your company to maintain a positive outlook. And be ethical. Avoid unethical behavior and take the time to carefully consider your options when faced with an ethical dilemma. Another important area to consider regarding the topic of professionalism is professional communication. The process of communication is what allows us to interact with other people. Without it, we would be unable to share knowledge or experiences with anything outside of ourselves. Professional communication refers to the various forms of speaking, listening, writing, and responding within a workplace context. This can take place in person or electronically. There are a variety of channels you might use in your professional communication. These include written channels such as memos, letters, reports, and newsletters, oral channels such as telephone, face-to-face conversations, company and team meetings, and electronic channels such as email, instant messaging, voicemail, and video conferencing. During your co-op and even in future roles, you will likely use many of these channels of communication. It is a good idea to check with your employer's supervisor to find out the organization's expectations and norms for using these channels. Even before you get a chance to ask your site supervisor about common practices within the organization for professional communication, you can still prepare yourself by practicing effective communication skills. Factors that contribute to effective communication include eye contact and a visible mouth, your body language, silence, checking for understanding, smiling, summarizing what has been said, encouragement to continue, and asking some questions. The skills listed here are ones that you can practice before even starting in your new role. Try these out with a peer, instructor, family member, or a friend. Now that you have an understanding of the skills that contribute to effective communication, take a moment to think about what you would consider to be barriers to effective communication. Factors that might be barriers to effective communication include language, noise, distractions, put-downs, lack of interest, disability, discomfort with the topic, distance, too many questions, other people, or even time. Barriers to effective communication can lead to misunderstandings in the workplace. While you may not always have control over these elements, there are some things you can do to overcome these barriers. First, realize that communication is imperfect. You can try to adapt the message to the receiver, and you should work on improving your language and listening skills. Also, question your preconceptions and encourage feedback. Using these strategies can help overcome barriers to effective communication. Now that we've discussed professionalism in the workplace and how you can work to communicate effectively, let's go over a few tips to help you be successful in your new role. First, be professional and responsible. Remember that even if your experience doesn't lead to employment at the organization, the interactions you have and relationships you build will leave a lasting impression. You never know who might have a connection with another company. Take advantage of opportunities to get involved. While your supervisor may have specific tasks set aside for you, take the initiative to seek out new projects and assignments. These can be opportunities for you to learn a new skill and for your employer to envision you outside of the student role. Be creative and enthusiastic. Master your job. Being proficient in your role is a key factor to success. Keep detailed records of your work. The records you keep can be put into an e-portfolio or resume to present to future potential employers. Make sure to check with your supervisor to see what information you are allowed to save for future use. It is possible that you may be working in a remote environment. Whether your experience is completely or even partially remote, these tips can help you adjust and be successful in the event you find yourself working from home. First, get dressed. This might seem like a simple tip, but it is an important one. It's pretty tempting to stay in your PJs all day, but the simple act of changing clothes serves as a signal it's time to wake up and get things done. Second, designate a workspace. Your workspace doesn't have to be its own room, but it should feel as separate from the rest of your home as possible. Try to make your workspace comfortable with a chair you can sit in for 8 hours a day. If you're working at a table you need to use outside of work, or a room that you spend a lot of time in, pack up your work each evening to create that separation. Keep clearly defined working hours. Just as you designate and separate your physical workspace, you should be clear about when you're working and when you're not. You'll get your best work done if you stick with consistent hours. Plus, if your role is collaborative, being on the same schedule as your coworkers makes everything much easier. Fourth, eliminate distractions. It's human to get distracted, but you need to pay attention to how much you let yourself get distracted. For example, if you're someone who's susceptible to getting distracted every time you get a phone notification, turn your notifications off during the time you're working. And take breaks. If you were at your workspace, your work site, you'd probably take a few breaks throughout the day, and that's fine to do at home too. Using that time to throw in a load of laundry is okay, but it is probably not the best time to finally clean out that closet or anything else that takes a lot of sustained focus. Schedule your breaks and set timers. That way, you don't get too immersed in an outside project and forget that you're at work altogether. And finally, communicate. There are adjustments that come with working from home. The key to making it a smoother transition is communication, especially with your manager. It is important to come up with a plan for how often you should check in and how you'll convey any changes or new assignments to one another. Do the same with anyone you collaborate with for your role. In the virtual world of work, you can use things like email, phone, and video chat to keep the line of communication open, cut down on miscommunication, and break up some of the social isolation that can come from working from home. Remember that the Professional Career Readiness Center is here to help should you have any questions or concerns regarding your experience. In order to contact the Professional Career Readiness Center, you can call 412-392-3950 or send an email to careerdev@pointpark.edu.